So it is huge, and I cannot stress that enough. We are talking about something that potentially cracks a case wide open. This is the kind of stuff somebody can't ignore either. So I'm going to do something right off the bat. I never do. I'm going to ask you to share this. I'm going to ask you to comment, get this information out there, because you know what this does? It proves fraud. It proves fraud on a massive scale, and it undermines something that you've been hearing for years. See, it deals with 7 million little questions, or to put it more aptly, we're talking about 7 million little dollar signs, and despite what the media told you and what a certain nameless party told you, 3.5 million of those, apparently they didn't go where they were intended. And I want you to think about this. If someone is untruthful about something like that, if they sold it to the media who tried to sell it to you for 4 years, then what else were they untruthful about as well? Those kind of questions are something that no one can ignore. And more than that a court can't ignore. Yeah, like I said, these are the kind of things that blow a case wide open. We're going to set the stage for this too, so I'm going to explain everything with it. Buckle up. Oh, this is going to be an interesting ride. So hey there to all you wonderful folks, by the way, I hope you're having a great holiday, and this is going to be a great one. It deals with a certain case coming up in 2021, something you'll want to tune in for, because if you thought 2020 had a lot of revelations, this one, it is going to have so much packed into it. Some of the stuff we've been seeing coming out, I mean, I can't believe this. I can't believe it's all been setting out there. No one was asking questions about it, but then again, that's how narratives work, isn't it? Now, as far as this subject goes, this is coming to us from Adam Waldman. This is a source you can definitely trust, because this source knows quite a bit about what's going on, because it's legal representation for JD. Now, this, by the way, it's dealing with a settlement. We're talking about $7 million, and it took a long time to get this settlement. It stretched out from 2016 to 2017, and this, by the way, the information we're seeing, it has been fought tooth and nail. In fact, before I showcase what Adam Waldman is saying here, I want to read you something. All of it won't be on screen, but it's filed by a certain nameless party, by their representation, and you can tell from the way this reads that they know that if this information ever comes out, they're going to have to defend against it. Why? Because all of this, it is based on fraud. Now it's part 4 of many reasons why they shouldn't have to share information, but this one, it specifically deals with that 7 million little reasons. Part 4, here's the title: How Plaintiff Spent Her Divorce Settlement Money is Irrelevant and Overbroad. And all of this, remember too, plaintiff, that's the person who brings the case. We're talking about JD. Defendant, you know who that person is, but I'm going to call them the nameless party. So plaintiff seeks documents reflecting how defendant spent her settlement of $7 million. Nowhere in the plaintiff's complaint does he allege that defendant alleged DV, that's how I'm going to always refer to that, as DV, to obtain money. The sole reason claimed in complaint was to quote-unquote advance her career. Because of course, doing that at the detriment of you, yeah, that makes it so much better. Moreover, it continues, plaintiff has admitted under oath that no part of the settlement payment of $7 million, a mere fraction of what defendant was entitled to under the community property laws of California, you love how that's worked in there too, trying to again deflect away from what's being said, was the result of defendant alleging, again I'm going to say DV. Mr. Depp further testified that, quote unquote, and when you see this here, this actually came up 11/10/2020, so they're talking about something that came up in the last trial. They're saying he said none of the $7 million that she was awarded in the divorce had anything whatsoever to do with any of her claims, any of that. No. Now, this part, it is very, very important. Why? Because this is laying the groundwork for the defense against what's coming out today. They knew this stuff, it would prove something, and it would prove it beyond anything. So plaintiff alleged that he wants to test the truth of defendant's public statements. But in Virginia, quote, specific instances of the conduct of a witness may not be used to attack or support credibility, and specific instances of conduct of a witness may not be provided by extrinsic evidence. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, look at the rule that they note. It provides that, quote unquote, impeaching the truthfulness of any witness can only be done by reputation proof and not by cluttering the record with evidence of specific instances that prior witness lying or false behavior, and that admitting evidence of reputation formed as a result of one single instance is not proper. Thus, this quote unquote purpose is not even admissible. Now, look at that there. You can't say that I lied. You can. Now, this argument is basically saying just because you proved that I was lying, just because you were proving there was false behavior, that doesn't speak to who I am. It's only one single instance, and that one single instance, well, it doesn't speak to other instances out there. You have to bring in the entire reputation. Now that, it was shot down by the judge. In fact, it was shot down by the judge multiple times. The judge, he got irritated by this stuff, and that, it leads to now. So Adam Waldman, he posts several different things today, too, and some of those, they are juicy beyond belief. His first post comes up saying that this nameless party's donation of $7 million to charity is hardly the act one would expect from a gold digger, and that it was from the justice in the UK. But that justice, he says, never even bothered to count the nickels, instead constructing his perverse ruling about demonstrably false lies like this one. So he decided, without even looking at information, that this thing, it was beyond true, and that is wrong. Now, he also includes a screenshot, and I want to read this thing to you in full. Why do I want to read it there? Because it showcases how those 7 million question marks, they have made that person unimpeachable. Everything they said, well, you can't question them at all, because again, look at what they did for charity. That, it shouldn't be the case, but it has been. But if you tear that wall down, then yeah, you understand what you tear down with it, or you should. But let me read this. A reoccurring theme in JD's evidence was that nameless party had constructed a hoax, and that she had done this as a quote-unquote insurance policy, presumably in the event that the marriage broke down. Mr. Shearborn commented into closing submissions that this nameless party had said that she recorded some of the conversation with Mr. Depp to show him what he was capable of doing where the monster prevailed, and yet many of these were never played or ever shown to Mr. Depp. She was, according to this scenario, nothing more than a gold digger. I have in the course of this judgment given reason why I do not accept this characterization of that nameless party. Looking at the evidence as a whole, I've come to the same conclusion. There is a multiplicity of emails, texts, and messages, diary entries, and papers in front of me. I've quoted some. Some, by no means all, are from that nameless party. I recognize, of course, that previous statements by her are not independent evidence of the truth of the allegations, yet they are not, on the other hand, inadmissible or irrelevant for that reason. There are also, as I have shown, sometimes statements from third parties which do corroborate her. I have evidence as shown to what that nameless party had received as a result of divorce settlement. I have explained that there was no expert evidence to compare those figures with what she would otherwise have been entitled to under California divorce law. Look at that statement there, too. That is word for word what you heard in another thing. Basically, you have these people feeding off of one another. But continuing, the principal element of that settlement was paid to her by Mr. Depp, the U.S. $7 million. That nameless party's evidence that she had given that sum away to charity was not challenged on behalf of Mr. Depp, and the joint statement issued by Mr. Depp and that nameless party as part of the Deal Point memorandum acknowledged that this was her intention. So she said that she was going to do that. That's a big thing in that, too. I recognize that there were other elements to the divorce settlement as well, but her donation of $7 million to charity is hardly the act one would expect of a gold digger. Again, he utilized that as a statement saying that it feeds into this. I believe this person is truthful across all boundaries and boards. That, like I said, should not be acceptable, but you see how they built off of that one thing. Now, Adam Waldman, he puts up another post. This post, again, it is a huge one here because it says, quote, the entire amount of the divorce settlement, we're talking about $7 million, was donated to charity. That's that nameless party's third witness statement, if you want to look it all up, delivered under penalty of perjury to the UK High Court, dated February 26, 2020. So it's been a narrative that has been ongoing for years. This is one that didn't just come up in the media. It hasn't just come come up in interviews, but it was presented again as factual evidence. Here's a copy of that screenshot, by the way, blown up so you can read it. As for what Johnny says about my so-called agenda and marrying him for financial benefit or to somehow further my career, that is preposterous. I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity. In fact, my desire to remain financially independent was one of my main sources of conflict during our relationship. You notice that statement here. Again, there is power given to it, like I said previously, and it testifies under oath that thing, it actually happened. Now, after that, Adam Waldman posts an interview. In this interview, you have that certain nameless party ask the following, November 2018. There was a divorce settlement. You got like $7 million. What did you do with that money? To which this person replied, $7 million in total was donated to. I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. I wanted nothing. Again, this thing has been the foundation of discussion from 2016 pretty much into when people started asking for proof, verifiable proof. Then, of course, that was something you can't talk about. And if it's a little lie, well, that doesn't impeach the credibility or the character of a person, does it? Yeah, indeed. Then we get to the meat here. And remember, this meat, it is posted by Adam Waldman. We are talking about one of the lawyers representing JD in this stuff, saying, I no longer have 7 million questions. I no longer want to know what happened to 7 million of those dollar signs. I'm down to 3.5 million little questions or 3.5 million little dollar signs. I know exactly where that stuff came from. Now, along with that, he posts two things, two powerful screenshots. And this is something we have not seen before, but it tells you where that answer about 3.5 million little question marks, it comes from. Here's a proof of service. This is Code of Civil Procedure, State of California, City of Los Angeles. I am employed, City of Los Angeles, State of California, over the age of 18, not a party within that. My business address is redacted. On December 11th, this right here, pay very close attention. I served the foregoing document described as the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles response to petitioner's subpoena for production of documents on all interested parties in this action as followed. So, Children's Hospital, Los Angeles, response to petitioner's subpoena. So, they got a response from that. Now, this other statement, it deals with that other 3.5 million questions. You can see, back in 2018, Adam Waldman posted, I have 7 million questions. And you notice who's talking here, that he's discussing Elon Musk. Now, if you go down to the circle part, this is very, very interesting because you know that other place besides this CHLA, ACLU, Elon Musk is one of their top donors. I'm one of the top donors to the ACLU. The ACLU comes back and says, thank you for being one of the biggest supporters of the ACLU. Really appreciate your backing us over the years. Now, there have been a lot of talk about that, saying that the other money that went to them, it didn't come from a certain nameless party. It came from Elon Musk, and well, 3.5 million little questions they remain. Now, he posts other screenshots too, and some of these I found interesting. I want to highlight a couple of them here. Here's one. I don't think anyone would have looked differently at her if she'd have kept that settlement money that was due to her, but she knew that money could do more for others than it could do for her. The person that's responding here, by the way, is the Director of Artistic Engagement at the ACLU. Now he asks, is this a true story there? And I do find it interesting how this narrative comes about. It could do more for others than it could do for her. When you think about it, you think about the decision and on, is that a true story or is it not? And really, did that happen at all? Now, there's one last screenshot that I want to showcase. It came along with a post where Waldman says, ooh, true story. And it was a subject from The Independent. It said that nameless party released a statement after reports that she had not donated the money from the JD divorce to charity. She put out something and said, yeah, I haven't done that yet because everything wasn't finalized. But I rectified that. He said, is that a true story? Because you didn't do it before. And yeah, I don't think you did afterwards. In fact, I know I know you didn't do that. And again, this isn't coming from somebody that isn't in the know. This is coming from Adam Waldman, the person that is there representing, a person that is there with the information from subpoena. Ooh, this stuff is juicy. This stuff, it is big time. And this stuff, it has the potential to blow something wide open. Nope, I no longer have 7 million questions. I'm down to 3.5 million little questions. And that, like I said, you think that 2020 was fascinating? Oh, get ready for 2021, because there's the court of public opinion. There's the thing that people see. And even if that other court, they decide that, hey, I'm not going to pay attention to that, all of it's out there, and it says so much. All of it has so far, but man, there is so much more out there, and y'all, man, it's just getting started. But anyway, let me know what you think about this stuff, and as always, appreciate the heck out of you. Hope you're having a great holiday, and again, if you'd share this stuff around, comment, like, post, all of that great stuff, I'd appreciate the heck out of it. It'll help this information get out there, and that's really the reason to do everything, getting information out there, informing people. If you want to go further, too, you want to help the channel out, there are links in the description. PayPal, Patreon, memberships, we have merchandise, and of course we have our comic book. Our comic book is closing down pretty soon too.